I'm Cape Joel, and this is Comic Smack, your weekly, daily, all the time, anytime comic show where I give you your fix of everything you need to know from the world of comic books and superheroes. And on today's show, we are taking a closer look at Detective Comics number 966. What happens when Tim Drake comes face to face with a darker version of himself from the world of tomorrow? Well, let's hop on in together and find out. Alrighty then, so as we join the comic, we get to take a gander at the dark, twisted future that this Tim Drake is from. Bruce is dead, Tim is Batman, and he has no bones about executing villains via guns, because hey, after all, guns were Bruce's hang-ups. As far as Tim's concerned, they're just a tool of peacekeeping. Now, current day Tim is pretty shocked and disgusted at the actions of the Batman of tomorrow, that he could ever even become Batman, let alone such a psychotic and evil one. On the other hand, the Batman of tomorrow can't believe that he ever used to be so young and naive with such a black and white idea of morality, but at the same time he does believe this because he remembers a conversation like this taking place with his future self when he was this Tim's age. Regardless of their many differences though, the two Tims will need to work together if they want to escape Doomsday and by extension Mr.OZ's prison. In fact, we actually learn a lot about the prison in this issue, that it actually exists outside Hypertime, which could help explain why we're seeing multiversal versions of characters all showing up here. Tim decides to break down and ask how exactly he becomes Batman in the future, and the Batman of tomorrow tells an admittedly very sad story. He says that Nightwing tried for a little bit, but his inner circus kid got the best of him. He fell in love, had a family, and eventually wanted to move on like he always did. Jason, whose life was a non-stop tragedy from the beginning, didn't even live long enough to ever try and become Batman. Then there was Damian, who we can see from these pictures actually did go on to fulfill the prophecy of Batman number 666, becoming a psychotic, murderous vigilante, only for Tim to eventually have to put him down. But what of the rest of the Bat family? What of this great support network, this security net that Tim was trying to make for Batman so he could go off and enjoy college like a regular kid? Well, as future Tim says it, that fell apart almost as soon as he went away for school, and stranger still, he blames Batwoman for all of it, saying that she wasn't at the end of the day who they thought she was. Eventually, the two big brains are able to put their heads together and distract Doomsday with something they know he hates a lot more than them, and that was a hologram of Superman. From there, future Tim decides to drop regular Tim Drake back off in Gotham, assured that what will happen, but that perhaps he could save his younger self some heartache and trouble by telling him to apologize to his best friend, Connor Kent the Superboy. Only here's the thing, modern day Tim doesn't know who Connor is. This is incredibly shocking to future Tim, so much to the point he actually checks the makeup of this reality and sees that things have been doctored, things have been changed, and that if this Tim doesn't know Connor, then perhaps his future can be changed and he can be saved his dark fate. But first, he's going to have to kill Batwoman. Uh-oh. So that was Detective Comics number 966, everybody, and overall it was one hell of a ride from start to finish. James Tynion once again really shows that he loves Tim Drake and is trying to write one hell of a story with him. There's definitely an underlying theme in this story about how being smart is often a blessing and a curse, much like how being Batman is a blessing and a curse. Tim never wanted it, and now his older self is willing to move heaven and earth to make it so it doesn't happen. Then there's all the new stuff we learn about Mr.OZ and his prison and what that could possibly mean for the DC universe as a whole. There's just so much happening in these pages here. And yet, even taking that aside, even if you didn't care about the ramifications for the greater DC universe, it still ends up being one hell of a strong Bat family-centric story. The art in this one continues to be top-notch too. I love the use of shadows and lighting and everything. It really helps stress the darker underpinnings of this story. Overall, I'd give this one a 9 out of 10. This is shaping up to be one hell of a story, and I can't wait to see how it all shapes out, especially as the next issue is called The Fall of the Batman. So that was Detective Comics, everybody. I hope you enjoyed it, and as always, why not check out some of these other videos I have available on my channel. Then you can follow me on social media at Cape Joel, and if you head on down into the description, you can find all sorts of links, like to my Patreon. Patrons get exclusive access to videos and podcasts before anyone else, and they can do so for as little as $1 a month. And until next time, everyone, this has been Cape Joel. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all again next time. Bye-bye.